I think the award of Professor for me is important in two ways. The first in terms of what hopefully I'm able to do with my work. So it's a stamp of approval, if you like, that means your work can be given a little more respect perhaps out there in the wider world, and hopefully means perhaps our work gets taken a little more seriously by others. The second thing is more of a personal thing. The kind of research that I'm involved with is always a little bit in the margins. It's always going a little bit against the grain of the mainstream. So while I think that's really important that that kind of work is done, it can be a little bit tiring at times. It can be a little bit demoralising at times. So to be awarded a professorship is a major validation for me personally, the kind of work that I do and that we're involved with, both within the university, but also by those people outside the university that are also involved in the decision to award me a chair. The title of my inaugural lecture is There a Light On Behind What We Know? Those words are words that I've borrowed or perhaps stolen from a song lyric by Katrina Douglas, and it's an effort, I suppose, to poetically pose a question regarding the purposes and the value of social and human science research in the 21st century. I'm concerned that perhaps the traditional view that generating new knowledge about people and the social world is not an adequate and sufficient goal at this point in time. There have been moves within certain sections of the academic community to suggest that actually new knowledge isn't helping us move forward. It's not making the world a better place. So I'm interested to consider and to provoke the audience to consider whether other ways of doing social research can actually lead to a new sense of value about what's important. This builds on the work of Arthur Frank, a Canadian medical sociologist, who suggested at this point in time more knowledge might be less important than a clearer sense of value. So I want to explore some ways of doing research that will help perhaps us reflect as a community of research, as a community of scholars, on the value, purpose and the aims of the research that we conduct. Over the years I've become a little frustrated at the way that traditional social and human science research is quite inaccessible to normal people, people outside of academia. Because I think our research has something to offer those people, I want to find ways of making it more engaging, more accessible, more interesting, less boring perhaps. So for that we've had to move away from the sort of theoretical, distanced, dry, quite abstract ways of writing that characterise a lot of human and social science literature. So Katrina and I particularly have been interested to take up the challenge of storytelling in our work. Can we use stories to communicate our participants' experiences in a way that have more of an impact, that create an emotional response perhaps for the reader? We've also taken our work into songwriting. Songwriting, something I was involved with before I ever went to university in the first instance. So for me it's a return to a different way of understanding people, a different way of understanding the social world. By performing those songs, hopefully we can also generate different kinds of understandings, different kinds of insights and responses in our audience too. Other ways and approaches that Katrina and I are using and developing include live performance, poetry, and so on. On top of that, we've moved into filmmaking as well. Katrina's developed some skills as a producer and a director, and we've made a few short films which are available on YouTube related to the experiences of the participants in some of our research.